How you doing? Well, my name is Sean, and I guess this is day one of my vloggery. It was a weird day today. It just didn't feel right, not being in the whole acting mix-up of things because I've taken 14 days off. I've had to stay. I had to take a step back. Anyone who's been in this industry for long enough, I'm sure, can understand. That it's only healthy because of just the consistent rejection and the not knowing why you were rejected. Like, you could have not been rejected, but yet the end result is rejection, if you know what I mean. Uh, it's just I've been working my ass off for 9.5 years, and I needed a break. Today, what I did was I made a backing for my dartboard. I have a Bristol dartboard I just got, and I made a little bit of an additional soundproofing background or backing for it, so that it can be more courteous of neighbors' earshot and stuff of that nature while I'm playing. And as you can see, hopefully from the steps that are on the screen right now, you can get a just idea. It's just a standing mat that I got from, where is it? I got it from Home Depot for $8.99, and it's it's pretty much the same stuff as what you're going to pay a lot more for online or through those acoustic places. But next step, or the last step, is I'm adding a large piece of cardboard, to stop either stray shots or and to help dampen just that little extra vibration. So, hopefully this will give you a little idea that, a little home project. And yeah, I mean, I'm going to have to go through and cut another hole for additional hanging bracket, but it seems to be working pretty well. So yeah, have fun. Anyways, let me give you a little bit of backstory. I am a recovered alcoholic, drug addict. I went through 9.5 months of inpatient rehab. I started out in Brooklyn, in Clinton Hills, at a place called Teen Challenge, where I worked the U.S. Open. It was so awesome. It really was a lot of fun. But a lot of things also, accusations toward me that I couldn't stick around for that. So I left at 3.5 months, and I heard of this place called the Bowery. I didn't know where it was, but I hopped the train and I found it. And the Bowery mission was it was brought only by the Lord, because the funny part about it is that about a year prior my coming to New York, you know, when I was starting to think about acting seriously, I found this school online that really attracted me. I really wanted to go to, and I just knew I wanted to go there. And I quoted, I said it, I brought it up to people, but I had no idea how I was going to get there. I was in and out of jail for 9.5 years. I was a drug addict and alcoholic between 8 and 9 40 ounces a day. I mean, my life was so fucked up, and it was really just masking a bunch of pain that I didn't know how to deal with. So it came out in a way that I knew by example as a young child, before, the foster care and all that. I arrived in New York with no more than $1 and some change to my name, a duffel bag over my shoulder. So I wasn't going to get there. There's no way. But lo and behold, right down the street from this Bowery mission is that school. And it was, I found out, I went to an open house during a recess period. We were allowed out of the Bowery mission 2 hours, 2 days a week, sometimes only one day. But, you had to work in the mission. If you were there, you worked 8 to 10 hours a day, sometimes 12, sometimes more. You're up 1 to 2 times a week, 3 a.m. in the morning to unload, food, that was being sent to us from donations. I had to clean the community homeless bathrooms, and in the clothes room. So, there was a lot of work there, 6 days a week, sometimes some people 7 days a week, and 3 services a day that you had to be at. It was a lot of stuff. You had to be in by a certain time, regardless, which in the end ultimately led to, after I went, I said, during a recess period, I went and I auditioned for this scholarship, and I auditioned with the piece from Balboa when he's talking to his son about, it's not, winning isn't about how hard you can hit, it's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. And for the comedy piece, I did Michael Keaton's Beetlejuice, the commercial that comes on in the attic when he's, advertising his exorcisms. So I did those two, and I got the largest scholarship ever awarded in the history of that school. Which also coincidentally, what I was accomplishing was the first time anybody has accomplished such steps or feats in the history of the Bowery, of the 130 years that it has been around. I mean, Bowery Mission was the original, the first Skid Row of America. That was Skid Row. So they claimed that I was poisoning the mission because I was not going into electrical or plumbing or construction, which my background is in construction. I didn't need that, So I was eventually kicked out. As soon as, I think it was like the first week of my year program for the scholarship, which, we had to be there about 50 hours a week. So I wound up in the parks, couches, dorm room floors. I was out in the Bronx, Central Park, and then I lived off Two Bros Pizza, that's for sure. Word up, big bros, Two Bros, word up. I went to school during the day, and I found a job somebody got me a job at Jekyll and Hyde back when it was on 57th and 6th Avenue, I want to say. So I worked there as a server for a while living in Crown Heights. So that was like an hour and a half travel each way, and then, or I wasn't living there, but I was kind of squatting in a living room, and it was difficult getting in. That's why I had to sleep in the stairwells from time to time. But after a while, I was able to make a little bit of money, whereas I eventually lost that job because of a table walked out on me, and they wanted me to pay it, and I didn't have the money for it, so they fired me. So it was kind of back running around again. What I did have of that money was enough, though, for a room or something. Well, I had to wind up taking a semester off and just look for work. I put in applications and went through some like 80 places, and nobody would hire me. Until finally the TGI Fridays did up on I was at 50th and 7th Ave. So I was doing that, I was finally able to afford a room, and the thing was that I had been brought onto a project, a student project called Real Life Mallory, and it was the producer directed rented a vacation condo thing out in Kingston, and for 3 days, and we were allowed to stay there overnight. Praise God, because I couldn't stay at the place in Crown Heights anymore. So in the meantime, I'm calling all these places for rooms, and nobody was answering. The people who were answering, they weren't calling me back. And it came down to the last night, and as soon as I was done, that meant, again, no food, no home, no nothing. So I had a 3-day vacation over, and one place answered. One place called me back, and I wound up in that place. I'm blessed in that nature. knowing all the time through all of that situations, I could have picked the bottle back up again. But it was my drive for acting and my decision to either die sober on the street or succeed, and with the strength of the Lord. Just the only thing I can think of that got me through that, because I really don't know. It's like a blank sheet of paper there, in terms of like that. It's the only thing that I can make sense of. While I was homeless, I had a situation where, financial situation, that I had been getting charged 3 times. I was, the charges and the increases were only supposed to be coming from one. So, despite my proof, only one of them was dropped out, which would have legitimized all of them. So as a result of that, I was losing everything. Again, all my taxes, all my everything credits. I was able to get like $1,000 rebate from going to school and getting that scholarship and stuff. Gone. Everything gone. Half of it from fraud. But acting, transforming that hopelessness and that anger and that energy that you don't know how to get rid of, putting that into the acting, putting that into characters, finding monologues, finding pieces, keeping my mind occupied and focused on my goals is really what helped me get through that. Eventually I was fired from Fridays because of having to, the end of the year for school, for the acting school, which actually catapulted me into relying on acting alone, relying on background jobs, background gigs, anything I could do, acting related. And it started to work. It started picking up, and I started making more money than what I was making at the restaurant. When I thought originally I thought I was done for. So again, it's like I lost what I thought I needed to sustain me, but the Lord showed me that I didn't need that, because there was something better. There was something more along the lines of what I wanted to do, what I was passionate about. And what I understand more now about trusting Him, which I didn't then, I was usually kicking and screaming, but it's just, you gotta trust, man. You gotta trust Him. You gotta trust the current of life. You gotta trust that where you are right now is not where you're gonna be at tomorrow, whenever tomorrow is. You may lose now, you may lose tomorrow, you may lose next week. But as long as they can't take your will, your soul, your drive, your love, and your passion, you won. I'll pick this back up tomorrow. Hope it wasn't too boring for you. But, yeah. I'll holler at you. One.
I think I can. 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 I think I can.